Go.
Hi, I'm Karina Scali.
And I'm Niaya Francis, and we're both Sheridan College students.
We are ECs in the SK Kindergarten program who are conducting a professional meeting to discuss and plan for children Hunter and Ravina in our room while keeping the best interests of our children in mind.
In this video, we are going to talk about the common interests that we found Hunter and Rena had. With this interest that we used for both for our spontaneous interaction that we found that we both had individually with both Hunter and Ravina. With that, we gathered both our interests and we thought of what interests they had in common. And with that, we made a PowerPoint and a web slide. So in this video, we are going to show you via the PowerPoint and web slide that we have of the common interests that we had for both Hunter and Ravina and how we can illustrate this interest with all the other students in the classroom.
This is Hunter's spontaneous interaction. On Friday afternoon, Hunter and I were sitting in the living room talking about science experiments. He had a little book that had many different science experiments. As he was flipping through the book, I asked him, "How about this one?" He said, "Sure." I asked Hunter's mom for a mason jar filled with water. She gave it to me. Then I asked Hunter, "Can you put the paper towel into the jar?" Hunter then grabbed the paper towel and he put it into the jar. Then we took the jar to the kitchen table. As we were playing, Hunter shared an idea with me. He said, "Let's get some food coloring to see what happens." I followed his lead by putting a couple of drops of food coloring into the water. Then I asked him to shake the jar a little bit to see if it changes color. The water turned green. I said, "Look, we made green." He said that was fun.
And so now in the next slide, I'm going to show you my spontaneous interaction that I had with Ravina. And during this spontaneous interaction, I did this activity with her when we were at her house, and this happened during the bathroom. So it says, Ravina, 4 years old, is in the bathroom and said, "This purple brush, and then you get a cup of water, and then you scrub the scrubby with it." That is when I said, "Then you want me to play with the scrubbies?" That is when Ravina said, "Yes, then I will color." I took one of the purple scrubbies and I picked up a marker from the bathroom countertop. Ravina then got a green marker and began to color on her scrubbies. I looked over at Ravina and asked, "I can use any color and I can make any design?" Ravina said, "Yes, you can make anything." That is when I got the scrubby and I began to draw a flower on it. And as you can see in this video, in this PowerPoint, this is Ravina and this is her in the scrubby that we use. So while Karina and I were both sharing our spontaneous interaction that we both had with Hunter and Ravina individually, we both found the common interest that they both have, which was coloring. And with that data that we collected, we thought of
a concept map that correlates with the concept of coloring. And this is our concept map.
So with the concept map that we correlate with coloring, we thought of different activities that we can have with the children. And one of the activities we thought was tie-dye. And we both agreed that we can do this activity more in the summertime during recess, outdoor times. And with that, we can do tie-dye, and then we can even have a spirit day. And with spirit day, the children can wear the tie-dye t-shirt that they found. And with that, we also thought that even though we can use tie-dye, we can use a little science activity and see if we can use tie-dye using food coloring and see if how long does the food coloring stay onto the tie-dye shirt, or does it last long? And with that, it kind of correlates with what Karina did with Hunter. And as you can see in here, this is the same activity that Karina did with Hunter with food coloring with water. But we thought maybe we can do that with a white t-shirt and see how they can expand their learning from that.
Another activity that we thought that we could do with the children was dancing with those different colored gymnastic ribbons that they use. So at some point during circle time in the morning, I would bring a song maybe that talked about coloring, and I would do a dance with them related to coloring. And during that time too, we could also read a book related to coloring. And another thing that we could do with the children is um, is have them sort different colored blocks different into the different bins, and that's a STEM activity, but it's more of a math concept activity. But we thought that would really help the children to engage their minds while they're also learning about coloring at the same time.
Correct. And then also we thought, because what Karina said, we thought about dancing. We thought with dancing, how can we use coloring to really motivate their gross motor skills? So Karina, what did you thought of to help with their gross motor skills?
With their gross motor skills, we thought about Play-Doh. So we thought about helping them make Play-Doh.
With Play-Doh, and then we also thought about using color fabric, and they can dance with that.
Yeah.
And also with Play-Doh, we thought of maybe they can make it with their gross motor skills, making Play-Doh using their hands, and also with that, maybe they can play a fun game with the Play-Doh where they throw it at each other from across the room, but we have to also spell the color of that Play-Doh that is being thrown at each other. We also thought about paint, and with paint, we thought about how can we really use paint and color, because obviously color and paint are the same thing, and we thought what's the activities that we can plan, and we thought of finger painting. So with finger painting, we thought of so we use finger paints, and they can, instead of using a paintbrush, they can use their fingers, and they can make any sort of designs and art that they want to. And with that, we thought of how can we modify this activity for children who may not like the texture of the paint. So we thought of using a saran wrap, and with that saran wrap or even a Ziploc bag, we put the paint underneath, so the children's not touching it, but they have the saran wrap, and they can be able to participate in the finger paint by using the saran wrap and spreading the colors around. But then we also thought with the paint, we thought of mixing colors. And with mixing colors, we thought about the children can learn what does red and green make, and how does that correlate to a new color. So then with that, we also thought about primary colors. And as you see, we thought with using primary colors, by using paint, they're not only learning by visually seeing it, but then we also thought maybe during circle time, like Karina said, having a book. And with that book, we can find a book that talks about primary colors, so the children have a better understanding when they're reading it. And we'll also provide this book in the book area, so when the children ever want, they can always read and have a more deeper understanding with the colors and primary colors on books.
And with all these activities that we've listed on our concept map, we would modify them. So, for example, we could modify an activity for a child when English is not their second language. We could modify it by saying the name of the activity in their language, or having, for people who have special needs, we could also have someone sign ESL or write Braille on the activities, as well as getting different tools for all the children to use, because we feel that all the children should be able to participate in our activities.
Correct. And then with that, we also thought about how can we visually display the coloring activities that we have for the children. So we both come up with a great activity, because yes, we do use Hi Bye Mama, but we also thought maybe for the children to have more deeper and enjoyment of this, we both agreed that having a display board as in our front of our classroom, which is like a built-in board, so not only do the family get to see what they're doing and do the children get to experience it, but the children actually get to visually see what they did that week and what did they learn. And we also agreed that with that, we're going to talk to our children about how this helps with their development aspect. So they're going to learn that while they're learning their colors, and they're not only they're learning about their gross skills, their fine motor skills, and their conjugate development. And we're going to display that by using the pictures that the child who gives us consent, but the pictures that the child has while they're doing this activity, and under the picture we talk more in detail and we talked about their development aspect in that picture on the diagram board that we saw. We also thought we were going to use more colors and also use the arts and activities that the child used and display it on the building board.
And we also, at the end of the week, want to ask the parents for consent as well for the children to be videotaped, because videotaping is also a great way to use pedagogical documentation, because then we can show the children how well they've developed in their skills while doing this activity, and we can also show the parents how well they're doing as well in the activity and how far they've come in our classroom.
Yes, and while doing this, we're going to probably just do a little, at the end of the school year, have a little video that they can see and they can really enjoy what they've done and what they have learned. So this is all that we've got from our concept map of coloring, but we also agreed that we are going to talk to the children, and if we notice that they have another interest while doing coloring that's maybe a little bit further, for example, they like doing colorings and they're painting while mixing the colors, and they said this color looks like dinosaurs, then we'll talk about expand as like, yes, this color does look like dinosaurs, how can we form the color of dinosaurs? And then we can talk another activity and going on their interests and talk about dinosaurs and the products of dinosaurs. But we also thought in our concept map talking about skin colors and the different process about people's skin colors and how everybody has different skin colors and everybody also have different textures of skins. And so we thought about maybe also doing that so the children can be able to be inclusive about the different colors but also the different textures of skins and talk more about that too.
Okay, and so at the end of the year, based on the children's interest, we can see what they tell us. And then based on that, we will do a big project at the end of the year. We're going to ask the parents as well for consent, as well for pictures and video that we can document and show it to them. And video, again, is a great use of pedagogical documentation.
Okay, so this is the end of our pedagogical documentation.
And we hope you enjoyed our presentation. And in this presentation, me and Niaya have gained a better understanding of emergent curriculum and emergent planning. And we've also gained an understanding of how to do an interest map based on children's interests. And we also learned how to match our children's interests while keeping the best interests of both of them in mind. Thank you so much for listening to our presentation.
Okay, bye.
Bye.